From exclusive console games to incredible indie titles, there really is something for everyone on PlayStation 4. Between them, you'll find a selection of games that won't cost you a penny to play. From battle royales and looter shooters to full-fledged MMOs, there's a lot of free content out there. But to save you from looking for games to play, I made this video with the best free PS4 games for you. Sure, Rogue Company is another competitive shooter with optional microtransactions, but it still has a place on this best free PS4 games list because you can get started with the 4v4 objective-based battles for $0. You'll begin a match by skydiving in, but once you're on the ground, there are a couple of things you might be faced with. There will either be a bomb, which you may be tasked with either planting or preventing from being planted, or a series of control points you'll need to capture. Once that's over, the next round will begin, with the chance for you to spend money you've earned that match for various mini-objectives on better guns and new ability upgrades. If you have ever wanted to start learning fighting games but feel intimidated by the barrier of entry created by the motion inputs, Fantasy Strike is the game for you. It has all the good stuff that makes fighting games so enthralling. Footsies, spacing, zoning, it is all here. This is a real fighting game. However, it also removes that notorious barrier of entry. No more Hadouken motions. All the special moves are single button presses now. Hell, if you decide to move on to the more established titles in the genre, you will still be able to take a lot of what you have learned over to other games like Street Fighter or King of Fighters. If you are concerned about the game's economy, don't be. You get every character in the online versus mode. You can pay to play the single-player content or buy skins. That's it. Very reasonable stuff. The original Overwatch had the problem of being a full-price team game with 6 on either side. Getting 5 friends to buy the game was the first hurdle and getting them together was the second, and most frustrating battle. Overwatch 2 is free, and has cut down to 5-person teams. Now, you can team deathmatch like a real team or strategize like a real squad. So get some buddies together to do some hacking, gunslinging, or hamster ball rolling this week. With the game's wide-ranging roster, it's not hard to find a hero that you like to play. After that, the only challenge is locking in Junkrat before anyone else. Forget your guns but bring your magical gauntlets for Battle Royale Spellbreak. While it's a smaller scale fight than you might be used to, there's depth to be found thanks to 6 different battlemage classes and customizable loadouts for unique magical attacks, plus the usual power-ups to battle over around the map. The game boasts a fully realized cross-play system, so you can play and make progress on a single account on any of your other current-generation gaming platforms, or just play with friends who don't own the same console. What's more exciting is the promised content that Spellbreak has in store for the future. You can expect this one of our best free PS4 games picks to gain more play modes, locations, and backstory to be filled in throughout the game's life, according to the developer's promises. It is fair to say that most people probably thought the failure of PlayStation All-Stars killed our chances of ever seeing a proper challenger to the Smash Bros. Throne. When the announcement of Multiversus first dropped, WB's entry into the genre was certainly not convincing people otherwise. And yet, here we are. The game has been released, and you know what? It is excellent. Multiversus is a take on the platform fighter genre that emphasizes teamwork and pushes for a more skirmish-based style of combat. The universal shield, gone. So, you either dodge, or you get hit, and it is so much fun. The roster of characters all feels super unique, and the online is absolutely incredible, something Smash certainly can't claim. If you played The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild and wish it were multiplayer and more anime, then Genshin Impact will be a dream come true. Cooking, climbing and crossing lush vistas all make an appearance alongside a colorful cast of characters. The big differences are that the game relies more on RPG elements, leveling up, looting new items and crafting with elemental powers. The catch is that you collect more by buying them gacha style, so getting the water wizard or fire fairy you want can consume both your time and your money. That said, the locations look lovely on the PS5 and buying more characters is optional, so it's definitely worth the price of admission. There are few games that have perfected storytelling like Life is Strange. This graphic adventure-style game is more like an interactive movie, allowing you the chance to make decisions, solve puzzles, and watch your choices play out in a cinematic style. As a precursor to Life is Strange 2, The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit is a bite-sized adventure that bridges the gap between the two games. You play as Chris Erickson, a young boy who faces a tragic loss and creates a superhero persona as a coping method. Over the roughly 2-hour campaign, you will follow his story while inputting your choices to alter his path. This game is perfect for those who want to relax with a great story. You don't need to have another COD game on your PS4 to access Warzone, the franchise's take on the Battle Royale genre, as it's a free download and doesn't require you to purchase the latest annual entry in the Juggernaut shooter series. When you boot up the game and dive out of the plane into the game map, you'll find yourself in a 150-player battle on a huge island made of components taken from classic maps from the franchise. And when you take a fatal hit, you have a second chance in the form of the Gulag, a 1v1 match in a cramped environment against another player looking for a free res. Overall, there's plenty that this member of the best free PS4 games guide offers, enough to maybe convince a Fortnite or PUBG fan to try a different game for once. We are relatively certain that Roller Champions hasn't been the smash success that Ubisoft was hoping it would be. However, while it may not have lit the world on fire, it has established its own community. A big part of the game's health is probably due to the developers having maintained support. But what is Roller Champions? Well, it is an arcade sports title that has you rolling around an arena, tackling opponents, and scoring goals. The big hook here is that the more laps you perform while in control of the ball, the more points the goal will be worth. This adds a push-your-luck element to the game. Roller Champions is played with teams of 3. Teamwork is a huge part of Roller Champions. You can gain speed from your partners and tackle your opponents as they pursue your team members. And, of course, effective teams will pass the ball frequently. You will be able to jump into the game and understand how to play in minutes. It is all wonderfully accessible and endlessly engaging, especially when playing with friends. Most MOBA games place you as an aerial observer of the battlefield, but Smite puts you right behind your chosen character, who will be one of hundreds of gods from pantheons around the world. You stride, pounce or fly into battle against opposing heroes and their minions to destroy their titan and win the match, taking out towers along the way. Smite is easy to pick up thanks to automatic settings for leveling your character's abilities up and buying key items. But there's plenty of depth and tactical enjoyment too once you turn off these settings and look around the enormous 108 character roster for your favorite champions in each role. This MOBA / third-person action game combo is a unique experience among the best free PS4 games, and one that might help fans of its mixed-up genres appreciate the other. When you mix an anime style, a sci-fi setting, and gacha, you get Honkai Star Rail. The younger sibling of popular game Genshin Impact, Star Rail is quite similar in some ways. However, it's also pretty different. Its battle system is turn-based, and it's more linear. Star Rail also has some QOL features already built into it that Genshin still doesn't have yet. You play as either a male or female trailblazer suffering from amnesia who finds themselves on the Astral Express, a giant space train running along the galaxy. Your ultimate goal is to regain your memory, but you meet a variety of interesting characters along the way, both friend and foe. The game is constantly being updated with events, new characters, and character stories. If you like turn-based gameplay and delving into character stories, you'll most likely enjoy Honkai Star Rail. If you like Capcom's Monster Hunter series, then this is one of the best free PS4 games for you. Either alone or with up to 3 other companions, you will be tracking and defeating enormous beasts, then taking the loot you've gathered home to upgrade your gear. The world's rendered in a charming cartoonish style too, making it a joy to behold as you look for your next target, which will be one of many unique behemoth creatures. Along with the standard mode, you can also try out Escalation, a series of 5 battles that continue to raise the stakes and the difficulty so you and your companions can truly prove your hunting skills. There are also weekly trails that add different modifiers to add a fresh twist to your encounters in return for unique rewards. Fortnite's biggest competitor, Apex Legends, has some big differences. The first is that it's first person and the action sure is tenser because of it. You can't peek around corners or watch your periphery without giving yourself away for one. The second is its characters, or legends, who all have a handful of special abilities to watch out for. Seeing through walls, tracking enemies and stealth skills all mean that strategy is a key part of the game. Then to top it off, the maps are much smaller, which makes matches quick and deadly. If Fortnite is too relaxed for your taste, maybe Apex Legends will slake your thirst. If you're looking for the best free PlayStation games that come with a huge online player base, Apex Legends is definitely worth exploring. Developed by 1047 Games, Splitgate is a first-person shooter that was originally released through early access in 2019. But following a substantial revamp of its gameplay, the console versions were released in 2021 for the Xbox One and PS4, with versions for current-gen consoles expected to release sometime in 2022. The free-to-play title borrows elements from other popular sci-fi-based shooters, most notably the ones in the Portal series, in the form of the titular wormholes that allow you to instantly jump between one point of the map to another. This means gameplay takes a more tactical spin than your typical first-person shooter. In a battle between Materia and Spiritus, the gods of protection and destruction, two teams of heroes from the Final Fantasy series must fight for them. In this free version, you can pick from a rotating selection of 4 fighters from the original roster and fight in online or offline bouts, swinging your weapons and casting spells in teams of 3 to take down your opponents. You can't play the game's story mode, but you can play online with people who have bought the game, and transfer your progress from the free version if you decide you enjoy it enough to buy the full experience. Fortnite is the most popular game by a landslide. Maybe if Roblox was on PlayStation it would have some competition, but the fact is that Fortnite is too versatile. If you want to play parkour, team deathmatch, battle royale, or the original save the world mode, you just select it from the menu and play. The developers make big changes each season. They've previously added tanks, perks, climbing, and fishing. Then come the crossovers and collabs. Dragon Ball Z, The Witcher, RoboCop, Ariana Grande, and Kid Laroi have all appeared. So it's safe to say that there will be something that you'll like in Fortnite when you can avoid the sweaty players. Following the success of the original Destiny, the team at Bungie hadn't wasted much time before churning out a sequel. Originally released as a pay-to-play game in 2017, Destiny 2 eventually went free-to-play in 2019, opening its doors to even more players. Destiny 2 is a cross between a first-person shooter and an MMORPG. But don't be worried about the potential of it feeling watered down. It features some of the most satisfying gunplay in an FPS. Bungie continues to support Destiny's thriving community through regular updates. These updates are always massive, and they change the game in genuinely meaningful ways, and you can count on them making an appearance every year without fail. Destiny 2 can be a bit grindy for free-to-play players, but there is a ton of content here to work through. There is additional content you can pay for, but there is more than enough free content to see you through dozens of hours of gameplay. Dead or Alive 6, Core Fighters lets you try one of the biggest fighting games out there, but in the form of one of the best free PS4 games. But this is no limited demo. While you'll be restricted to a handful of characters, which rotate out on a regular basis, you can still play the bulk of this frenetic 3D fighters modes, including training mode, online battles, and a portion of the game story mode. Dead or Alive 6 evolves the iconic fighting franchise with a new meter system that lets you unleash devastating break attacks, as well as the Fatal Rush, which allows you to perform combos with a single button. All of this looks great thanks to the most stunningly realistic graphics the series has seen yet. If you like what you play, you can purchase individual characters a la carte or upgrade to the full game. With the overwhelming success of the Souls games, it was only natural that there would be imitators. Let It Die borrows heavily from its far more popular peer, but it sets itself apart with zany characters, settings, and weapons. Your character is tasked with battling to the top of the Tower of Barbs, a feat that has never been accomplished. Along the way, you will meet outlandish NPCs and discover some truly hilarious weapons like buzzsaw knuckles, a firework launcher, or a flame wand. It's all as weird as it sounds, while the flashy mayhem on display here is truly a joy to watch. Just be prepared to die a lot. Brawlhalla is the closest you'll come to playing Super Smash Bros. Out of these best free PS4 games picks, though it's more than a mere knockoff. This frenetic platform fighter features beautiful hand-drawn 2D art, a colorful cast of characters, and a unique battle system that lets you pick up weapons to completely change your fighting style mid-match as you strive to knock your opponent off the stage. The game supports everything from local, 4-player party brawls to intense, one-on-one, competitive online matches, and you can experience it all for free. The only thing you'd have to pay for is permanent access to all of the game's characters. Otherwise, you can pick from a limited, rotating pool of fighters. Even if your friends don't own a PS4, you can still play with them thanks to crossplay with the Xbox One, Switch, and PC. It's easy to pass off Paladins as a cheap Overwatch clone at first glance, but this team-based shooter has its own special quirks, and as its inclusion on the best free PS4 games list suggests, it costs nothing to play. Paladins stands out from the hero shooter crowd by letting you customize your character via collectible cards, adding an extra level of strategy to the game's tried-and-true objective-based combat. You'll either be capturing points, pushing payloads into your opponent's base, or just defeating as many as you can in straight-up combat, enhanced by a blend of fantasy/sci-fi themes and designs. With a rich fantasy aesthetic and an ever-growing roster of champions, Paladins is a great team shooter for folks who don't want to pony up the cash for Overwatch or dive headfirst into the well-established community of Team Fortress 2, or for those who need a break from either one. DC Universe Online is a dream for everyone who is a fan of the comic book source material. In it, you will create your own original superhero or villain and battle alongside or against Batman, Superman, and the like. This MMO-style adventure allows you to partner up with your friends and take on dungeons, raids, and bosses featuring many of DC's iconic characters. Even when you hit the max level, there is a ton of post-game content to keep you invested for hours. This is one of the older games on the list, with it first appearing on the PlayStation 3 in 2011, before making the jump to PS4 in 2013. However, since then, it has continued to be updated with new content, items, and characters. This is a must-have for any DC fans out there. Star Trek Online is an online role-playing game that lets you live out every fantasy you've ever had about boldly going where no one has gone before, in the form of one of the best free PS4 games. To boil down our full Star Trek Online review, this sci-fi space adventure lets you play as a human, as a classic Star Trek alien such as a Vulcan and Cardassian, or even as a member of your own custom alien race. You'll engage in both starship combat and on-the-ground shootouts, all while upgrading your tech to become even more power and playing through a rich storyline that delivers plenty of new lore for hardcore Trekkies to sink their teeth into. While Star Trek Online lets you purchase in-game currency for things like outfits and ship skins, you can also experience the entirety of its story for free. There are expansion packs on offer too if you prefer to spend your money on extra content. Warframe is the game you'd imagine aliens play. Your characters, the Tenno, are nano-suited puppets controlled and twisted by the void. You begin having your Tenno awaken from cryo-sleep and enlist to fight the sentient threat. It's all completely bizarre, yet looting and shooting aliens with your friends is the best reason to spend time in this world. The game also holds daily events, releases a steady stream of new Tenno and stories, and generally has a lot to get invested in. Before you know it, you'll be invested in the intergalactic war, and know the intricate lore like the back of your hand. If you like free PlayStation games with a difference, try out Warframe. The Battle Royale genre wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, also popularly known as PUBG. This game took the online multiplayer world by storm with its previously unheard-of 100-player matches and unique focus on survival. And while a free-to-play mobile version has been available since 2018, the main game only recently went that route. No doubt in a bid to better compete with the host of free-to-play titles available today. And while it is an incredibly competitive field, PUBG still offers one of the grittier experiences in the genre. It may have been the first, but that doesn't mean it is outdated. It is still worth checking out now. Rocket League is an easy game to wrap your head around. It's soccer but with rocket-powered RC cars. But don't be fooled by its simple core premise. It's one of the most mechanically deep games on this list. However, even with such a high skill ceiling, it still manages to be extremely newcomer-friendly thanks to its pick-up-and-play nature. Originally launched as a paid game in 2015, in September 2020 Rocket League adopted a free-to-play model and now stands as one of the best free games on the PS4, or any console for that matter. There are a variety of modes on offer, but the classic 3v3 matches are where you'll likely gravitate to. Just be warned, once you've scored your first winning goal, you're almost guaranteed to be hooked on Rocket League and might find yourself lacking the desire to play anything else for quite a while. For those of you who love games like RuneScape and World of Warcraft, you should give Neverwinter a chance. It's one of the simplest MMORPGs to get into, and yet it still delivers tons of content, all for free. Depending on how much time you put into the game, you might eventually run into a potential paywall, but it's not mandatory. You'll just have to be patient with some of the waiting times and leveling up processes. If you're familiar with Dungeons & Dragons, you probably recognize the name as the game is based on the fictional Forgotten Realms city from D&D. A delightfully silly take on the Battle Royale genre, Fall Guys lets you dress up an adorable bean character and then compete in hilariously high-concept obstacle courses and devilishly tricky mini-games in an attempt to be the last one standing and win a coveted golden crown. Fall Guys might have a colorful cartoon aesthetic, but it's nevertheless a surprisingly intense experience when it comes down to the final stages of a match. However, its joyful comedic streak ensures that even when you're eliminated in an early round, you'll be laughing at the ridiculousness of the events that lead to your demise. This helps to avoid some of the frustrations that come with the Battle Royale genre. If you'd rather step into the Blunderdome with friends by your side, Fall Guys also offers a co-op mode, and the development team regularly releases limited-time events and periodically adds new courses and mini-games into the mix in order to keep things fresh and interesting for players. Konami's Pro Evolution Soccer has formally made the transition to the free-to-play model under the new title, eFootball 2024. The new game promises the same quality football simulation the older series was known for, with a very low barrier to entry. And despite a rocky launch that saw many people poking fun at its various player likenesses and gameplay inefficiencies, the game itself appears to be here for the long haul. While there are still a large number of players who seemingly prefer the FIFA series, the truth is that eFootball is getting better and better with every update. And when it comes to the price of admission, it can't be beaten. So, did you like the games I recommended? So leave your like, subscribe to the channel to follow me and activate the bell because I post a lot of videos on this channel and you can't miss it. I would like to remind you that in the description we have a list of different products that can make your gaming experience much better. If you want to buy, the link will be in the description. Anyway, thank you very much for following me this far and until next time, bye.